Hello there, I hope you can hear me. I am right here in the studio and I thought I'd start to figure out where things are going on the shelves. There is still a lot of stuff in the other room, but what I want to do is just put the things back that I know are coming in here and are staying because I want them for much longer. And I think that's where I need to start, otherwise I won't be able to see what else is there and start sorting through it a lot more easily. So the first thing I know I'm going to do is bring my books back. I have a lot of books that aren't necessarily knitting, but they're more on a creative stance, like saying focus the mind and feel more free and flowing when you're living through your day, and just little things. For example, also the book about hygge and ikigai, and I will go through some of those books as I'm putting them back. But I know I want them in here, and I know I want them in here for a good period of time. So I think putting them back first is a good step, because then they're out of the way of everything else that I need to sort. So books first. I'm going to go and get some of them now. So as you can see, I've got quite a lot here. And now I'm going to put them on the top shelf up here, which means taking some of this down. This is one that I really love, The One Thing, and this is a concept that I learnt first with my yoga teacher probably 10, 12 years ago, and it was because we'd all learnt, well, I'd learnt that doing multiple things at once is a brilliant idea. If you're going to watch television, then sit there and do some sewing or knitting or sort out your accounts or something. And women are supposedly good at multitasking. So I'd done a lot of that, and then with my yoga teacher saying, let's actually trim it down and figure out how you can do one thing at a time when you are living your life on a daily basis. And then I found this book and like, okay, let me be still, let me be calm, and let me just flow into what feels right next. So I really like this. And then I got some of these as well. This, The Organised Mind by Daniel Levitin. I got this from a charity shop so many years ago. It was my first, if you can call it that, my first self-improvement book. This is 2014, but it feels like I've had this in my life much longer because of what I took from it. It can only take so much, your brain can only take so much every day, so chill. And that kind of really helped, especially with the fact that the ME is a big part of my life. I have to manage it and I have to cope with not having as much energy as some people might. So it's definitely something, as with The One Thing, that can really, really help. So yeah, now I'm going to put some of these back. Reclaim your power and make life count. I really like this, absolutely love it. And this is all about a particular, she's Australian, Samantha Wills, who started making jewellery and ended up with this multi-million-pound dollar company. So actually, it's a really inspiring book. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them. That is amazing. Beatrix Potter, Her Enchanting Work and Surprising Life. And it's a National Trust book, so it's got lots of illustrations all the way through it and photographs and all sorts. Absolutely love this. I saw it when we were travelling down on holiday. We stopped at National Trust property on the way, and I said to Nick, buy this for me for my birthday. So he got it for me. So that was a couple of years ago as well. There we go, that was 2023. So I really, really loved reading that. And I will go back to it and read it again and again, I'm sure. Now, you all know I've not been well these last couple of years, so I have got some books to actually really help with that as well. I will just find them in particular, and I've read them in the last couple of years. Wintering. If you've ever come across this before, it's an autobiography from one lady, Catherine May, in the UK. She's British, and she's going through an illness all the way through the winter, and feeling like she's coming out of it and feeling a lot better after having gone into cocooning and almost like what's the word? She's resting and retreating throughout the winter and learning all about herself and different ways that people rest and retreat in hard times. So that was really helpful, actually. It felt very, very much like what I needed, and I first read it about 18 months ago when I was just starting to come to grips with long COVID and how I might slowly be recovering and feeling a bit more like I had a bit more energy, but that was really helpful. This is an interesting one, Untamed, Stop Pleasing and Start Living. And Speak Your Truth, Fern Cotton. She's a BBC presenter in the UK. Lovely woman. Not that I've ever met her, but now, I am 49. Just a few weeks ago, I was 49. And Haggitude. Someone suggested this to me. And I read it last year. So, trying to avoid a midlife crisis at 50, going, oh my goodness, I've leaped over the 50. What am I going to do? And this is a brilliant book. If you know anyone who might be going through that kind of torture, I thankfully read this and thought, okay, you don't even have to think about going into that kind of place. You're doing fine. And this is going to be the best years of your life, Hannah, because Haggitude is all about taking the best wisdom, the best energy and the best experience you've had from your first 50 years and going, I'm going to do an amazing thing now. I'm going to really step into my own and just share my wisdom with everyone I know, and those people who want to follow me can. But I know now I can do that. And just because I'm reaching 50 and a lot of people will say, oh God, no, you're downhill from here. Actually, I can feel like, my goodness, I'm uphill from here because I know so much more about life. And when you get to this age as well, it's happened to me in the last 10, 15 years. You kind of, oh yeah, I've seen that before in the world. No need to panic. We've got over it before, we can get over it again. And that's my attitude to life. A lot. I'm much, much calmer than I was in my 20s and 30s, because at that point I was going, oh my goodness, how on earth am I ever going to cope with this? Now, if anything happens, I can go, yeah, that's okay, I can do that. But Haggitude by Sharon Blackie, I really enjoyed this. Again, it's just seeing people in different situations, really grasping life and saying, no matter what my age, I can do anything. So I really, really liked this. And yeah, it's not really knitting, but it's the books that I love that I'm bringing in here, because this is the kind of energy that I want in the studio. And of course, Hygge and who go home as well. How to make your home your happy place. This I need to actually leave out and read because I want to, obviously I'm sorting the studio out, but I'm sorting the rest of the home out as well. So yeah, that's going to happen. I will leave that out so I can read it. There's the Ikigai book, and this is a book, we were in a Waterstones bookshop probably 18 months ago, about the same time I was reading Wintering, and it was I know it was a couple of weeks later after I'd read that and listened to that, but I was really struggling. I was in a difficult place, and I saw this. Self-care for tough times. How to heal in times of anxiety, loss and change. I wasn't massively anxious, I was just absolutely exhausted. So just reading little excerpts from this and saying, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one out there who might be shattered, who might be kind of exhausted and who might need a bit of help. And this is really, you don't need to read the whole thing. I got it out again actually a couple of months ago when I was struggling. I just had a really bad cold in February, and I just thought, I'm in the middle of this, I'm still not out of it. Just find me something that will just give me a bit of peace, and this was really helpful. Susie Redding explores how stress and emotional trauma are held in the body and can be released through touch, movement and breath. And that also, of course, relates to how stress can be removed with the touch and the feel and the movement of knitting. So, yeah, this book, while it's not massively profound, and having it all contained in this one little piece of literature for someone to say, I've got you, you can do this, you're not alone, and you're not the first person to go through this kind of thing, was really helpful. So yeah, this book's really good. And if you've got anyone in your life who needs something like this, or indeed if you need something like this as well, then I would definitely recommend it. It was $12.99 in a Waterstones, but you can bet it's less than that if you want to get it online or something. But it's a really nice book, it was really helpful. Yeah, so there's the Ikigai one as well. So that's those books. Now, I don't know whether I want to bring my other books. Actually, I will. I'm going to bring my other books, my knitting books over here. And I do have some books, knitting books as well, in the other room in a cupboard. I could bring those in here too as well. I've got all my, all the ones that you usually see behind me as I'm filming. I'm going to bring them here and put them on these shelves. That would be really good actually. There we go, I've got Stitch Library and the Colour Knitting Library as well. We've got 500 essential edgings. I've never actually used this, but I don't know, it's a really good book. Maybe one of these days, I've got another 50 years in me. And then I've got the Knitter's Handbook. When I was first teaching, I was looking around again and again for a really good book that I could recommend people if they're starting to knit, and this is one that I really like. It's again got lots of techniques in it, shapes and cables and lace and all sorts of different stitch patterns. So yeah, I was just going around buying things, buying books that I might be able to recommend. But it's got a lot of stuff in here. It has got how to hold the yarn, But, like, you know, that is really on a personal level, whether it's comfortable for you to hold the yarn in that way. It's got different types of casting on and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, I do like that one. Circular Knitting Workshop, that's very good. I've got a Noro magazine. I'm not really sure why I've got that in here. Yarn Substitution Made Easy. And Socks from the Toes Up. That I actually haven't started knitting yet. I got that just before I first got COVID 2 years ago, so that hasn't happened. Like I say, I've got many, many decades left in me and I can start knitting socks whenever I want to. Now I have my film, book, TV books, Harry Potter, basically 1 and 2, and Outlanders. I have gone through these types of books in YouTube video before, saying should you get them or shouldn't you get them. A lot of these books are written by expert knitters and they're using exclusive yarns, so you're unlikely to find the exact yarns. A lot of these patterns, because they're trying to make them look exactly like they are on the TV or on the films, they may well be too difficult. So it's just a case of choosing which ones you find. For example, I mean, there's this little Hinky Punk, I think, or is that Cornish Pixie? It might be a Cornish Pixie. That, while it's stocking stitch, there's lots of pieces, so it's just having the patience to go through it. I know one of these has got Hermione's bag, which gets bigger as you go in. It's a TARDIS. And that is, there you go, it's on the back there, in the middle. That is a lot of stitches. It's beading as well as complicated stitch patterns. So you've got colour knitting, you've got all sorts of things going on. Just be aware that this may well be a coffee table book. It's for inspiration. I like the way those colours go together. I might use that in a jumper when I find it easier to knit it. All of those sorts of things. Remember that when you're getting this kind of book. You may not be able to knit all of the patterns. I honestly haven't knitted any of these patterns. I like the fact that I've got them. I like the fact that it's kind of a journey in time, because these are from the films. And it's set right at the beginning of the 21st century here. And if I have got these and I pass them down to my niece or great niece or whatever, then they're going to go, oh wow, that's a pretty old book. How is it in such great condition? I love the fact that we can pass these knitting patterns on. Just like I've got knitting patterns from my grandmother. And why not? So definitely some of them will be knittable, and you just have to look very carefully and say, do I have the skills to knit this? Is it just pushing my techniques a little bit, and that's okay? Or is it pushing my knitting techniques a little bit too much and I'm going to need to learn a lot? Or just say to myself, that's okay, I won't knit that. So yeah, some of these are great and some of these maybe aren't quite for us, real knitters in real life. Okay, I have a pocket knitting book, which used to have like a paper sleeve around it. But again, this is really good. This is Pocket Posh Tips for Knitters by Jane Davies and Jodie Davies from 2011. It's really good. These I've had since I was a teenager, and you can tell embroidery stitches and knitting techniques. Brilliant. This doesn't just give you knitting techniques, it tells you about the history of knitting as well, so I really like that. And I just want to keep it because I've had it for so long. This Golden Fleece, my sister got me that because she lives in Edinburgh, and it's signed by the author because she was able to go and meet her. But that's a Journey through Britain's knitted history, the Estoretta went around the UK exploring all the different traditions and little knitting niches that there are around Britain, and tried to knit some of them for myself. So I really like that. Or finding all of the very niche, very local yarns as well. This is my grandmother's practical knitting illustration. Probably had this for a very long time. Let me see. You can see from this it's probably 1950s or 40s. Yeah, oh my word, it's lovely. Can't see a date in it anywhere. Maybe there's one at the back. No, there isn't a date. But ABC of knitting and crochet. And then there's a load of patterns as well. Absolutely love that. Cast on and bind off, which is all about, funnily enough, different casting on and binding off and casting off techniques. So there's all sorts of different things in that. And then 1972. Oh my goodness. Now, I don't know why I've kept this. And there will be some reason. There you go. That's why I've kept it. Because I have that weaving loom. Mum gave me this magazine and the weaving loom a couple of years ago. So there you go. Absolutely brilliant. I was weaving when I was a teenager as much as I was knitting and sewing. So I actually, was it even last year? It might have been 18 months ago. I decided to get myself some weaving books with some Christmas money. So it was last year. There we go. And I just fancied doing some weaving. So yeah, I got the weaving looms out and had to go with them. And my mum said, "Oh, good, you've got this desire to start weaving again. You can have all my weaving looms." It's a lot of space, and I don't know where I'm going to put them, but I want to put them in here. I will find a space. We have a little book here, which is about making clothes, knitting clothes. For all different sizes and customising it yourself. So if you want to do that, just very basic shapes like a crew neck cardigan and a V-neck cardigan, a tank and a jumper, all sorts of different shapes, but the basics, which you can then change with changing the stitch pattern, changing the colours. Do you want it in stripes? Do you want it in mohair? All that kind of thing, and make it your own. So this is a capsule collection to knit and sew, and there's it's either it's a dress and a vest and a t-shirt to sew. I really like this. And then that's an American magazine in her studio. A friend of mine is in this edition, so I got it. There we go. So that's my books. And that feels so strange now to not have my books on that cupboard. I will really be interested to see what I put there instead. And I like that. I may end up putting them on a different shelf, like down or somewhere else, because it does look rather book heavy there. But that's the start. It may well be that they disappear and they go back on the cupboard. I don't know, but I know I've sorted through them. I want to keep them all now, and that's definite. And I want to keep all of those books on the top shelf there as well. So, yeah, that's a start for this afternoon, and it's interesting to see how many different knitting things I have, and it's the books are quite a good foundation for it. What I need to do next, I am selling yarn on eBay. And I'm going to just give it a few more weeks to see what goes and what doesn't. And if you're in the UK, you can get that. If you're in the UK also, you can get the kits on my website, which have been going up in the last couple of weeks as well. they are exclusive and unique colour ways that I've been creating for baby blankets and baby hats, and I'm going to start doing other things as well. So if you know you want to knit up some stuff this summer, or even get organised for September, then go and have a look there, because it is all reduced. It's between 40 and 50% reduced, I think. I've put it on there. And also, if you're in the UK, I'm only sending to the UK, but there are tools there as well, and needles. So just go for it if you want anything. And yeah, we can send that off to you. I think I've done all right here. I haven't needed to take my cardigan off, but it's getting to that point. We've had showers and grey clouds, and now it is very, very sunny here. So that's nice. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching and going through all my books with me. I wasn't expecting to do that, and I wasn't expecting to go through all of them quite so deeply, but I hope you've enjoyed that, because if you want any of them, then obviously, if you've been looking for something, I research books quite a lot before I let them into my collection, especially when they're craft books. And if I don't like them when they arrive, especially if I've bought them online, obviously, then I will send them back. So yeah, I've looked at a lot of books, like the sock book and the weaving books and all that sort of thing, and I know that they're going to be pretty good. When I've gone through them, I'm really pleased with them. When I use them, I'm really pleased with them. So I would definitely recommend those books. If there's one of those subjects that you're looking for, then that's the place to go. Okay, I will see you again soon, and I don't know when, but I will. Bye for now. Happy knitting.